Hey, good morning. It's Tess McIntyre here, and I'm with Edward Enever at his clinic in Vic Park, our Nature Co. And we're just going to have a little chat about Edward and his upcoming presentation, and just really a meet and greet with Edward, which I'm hoping that you'll all enjoy. So, hi Edward, how are you?
Hi, how you going? Hi everyone out there in cyberspace.
Hey.
On the interwebs. How are we going?
We're doing good. So, Edward, I just want to have a little quick brief about, how did you get into naturopathy?
That's a bit of a story.
Yeah.
So it's about 14 years ago, something like that. I had a life-changing event where I witnessed my 5-year-old nephew actually get hit by a car and die, and I was first on scene. It was a really major thing that rocked the whole family, and rocked me. It was my first experience with death, actually. And that, as these big events sometimes do, they open you up, on a spiritual level, which I completely was not. I was like in the trades. I was a printer, believe it or not. Completely nothing to do with anything in the natural world, health, anything like that. But it opened up this whole new world of things that I couldn't explain or anything like that. So I went down on a journey with that, exploring all these different things, Reiki and just crystals and you name it. And I ended up going to a Contest Expo one year. And me being me, I was just like, right, I'm going to get free stuff. So I grabbed my show bag and I went to every single stall. Just
it's good. The free stuff is good, yeah.
Free stuff as possible. And I went through, and there was the Australian College of Natural Medicine had a stall there. So I grabbed their welcome kit, put that in there. And it wasn't for probably a couple of months after that I went through my free stuff and had a read. I was just like, wow, that sounds really cool. It was a welcome pack on naturopathy. And I was like, that sounds like it could be something worth having a look into, because I was in a very different space to what I was, and my current work wasn't really gelling anymore because I sort of outgrew it, I suppose. So I went in and had a chat with them. The course coordinator, or whatever they called her, had a really nice chat, and I was just like, let's do it, sign me up. So it just felt right. I was in the right place, right time. It was just like, let's do this. So I signed up, and I never looked back. Eventually managed to quit the job. From part-time study to full-time study, and went out there and started practicing. So that's how I became a naturopath, really.
Fantastic. Interesting beginning though. That's it's interesting how life events can really let us almost sink into something a lot deeper, and we weren't
just changes trajectory.
Totally.
And that's what it was. It was a huge, out of something such a powerful event, so much positive change came from it. I saw it, change so many people's lives for the better, even though it was such a full-on thing to see a 5-year-old in that state. But how it affected everyone was just amazing. So it's been a very significant event in my life that's changed the trajectory, and I've got a lot to thank for that day.
That's true, and that's interesting, because through each experience, there's also something that comes from that for each of us, and we can sit with the tragedy of the event, and that's definitely tragic, or we can move into that space of there's something here, there's a gift, there's
Absolutely.
a gift, and
there's always a silver lining. There's always that other flip side of the coin, and you can choose to be completely destroyed by it, or you can use it as an opportunity for growth. That certainly was a growth period for me.
I would say so. And do you feel that those early beginnings, which led you to naturopathy, and how does that support you today with your clients when they come to see you as for their disease states and cancer? Yeah,
so it gives me a much broader sort of perspective on life, I suppose, and what life is and why we're here. So although I'm very science-based and I love the sciencey stuff and geek out on that sort of stuff, I've also got quite a strong spiritual side to it, and understanding of not just, this is what I say to a lot of clients, this is the what of the disease. We've got cancer, we've got autoimmune, we've got whatever it is, that's the what. What about the why? And why we got this? So, a big part of the way that I practice is, I send out this very comprehensive health questionnaire with all the questions that you could potentially ask in the whole world. I don't want to ask the questions because it's just me chewing up time. Yes. So I send it to them, they tick the boxes and they fill it all out, and they bring it in and say, thank you very much. Now tell me about yourself. And I want to know from word go, I want to hear the person's story. And that's what I really enjoy, because it puts why they're unwell into perspective rather than the what. The questionnaire tells me that what's going on with them.
Exactly,
I want to know why it's going on with them. and so I want to hear their story. So I always say to people, there's a great quote from, I think it's Anatomy of Spirit by Carolyn Miss, her books. She says, your biography will become your biology. And I think it's such a great thing, and it's so true. And you start to listen to these people's stories of their life, you can see why they're unwell. You can see completely. And so it's about, how do we deal with that? We deal with the what, but now we have to deal with the why as well, especially when you're looking at cancer. There's big whys. And I do treat a lot of cancer these days because of my story with cancer. So, I have the honour and the pleasure of being able to explore people's lives, and if they let me in, that is, to have a look at the whys and see what we can do about that and start to integrate those pains, those traumas, those whatever it might be that's led to the diagnosis. Absolutely. While we actually treat with the flesh and bone stuff,
yes.
To be honest, that's the easy part. It's the whys are hard, because it usually means big change for people, and we are resistant to change.
Yes.
Creatures of habit, we are. But it's nice to be able to take people on that journey and have a look at that stuff if they're open to it. Not everyone is. A lot of people are, though. You start to open up that narrative, that dialogue, and people eat it up. Most people.
Yeah,
conversations they want to have.
I think as you bring in you bring in the science and the naturopathy, plus your own personal journey, somehow that already has a connection, and then you're so personable and you're so easy to talk to. I think that you open that door. And it's interesting, a lot of people, I know that I see as well, don't often have that opportunity to sit and actually have that open conversation.
I think people desperately want it, but unfortunately, in the medical world, it's very personal. Using cancer as the example, you get treated as the lump or the bump. You don't get treated as the person, but the lump or the bump. So you don't have time for one to entertain these conversations, and it's the conversations I feel that a lot of people desperately want to have, but they don't have the person to have it with. So I'm very blessed to be able to have these conversations, which I really enjoy because I learned so much about me in the process.
Well, that's the honour, isn't it? It's in the sharing, So in the sharing, we open up, which allows them to open up, and then we actually get that mutual understanding, but also the empathy, and then the compassion comes through, doesn't it? And they really feel that.
If you can help people find meaning and purpose and context in their diagnosis, it just helps their mindset towards what's going on for them. They can get bitter, they can get resentful, and that's not a healthy relationship towards a diagnosis of whatever.
Yes.
But if they can find meaning, purpose, and context, and maybe what it's here to help them with, then they can embrace that and they can make big changes because they're looking at it from a different perspective, and it's important to do, I think.
Absolutely.
I think these are the people that get well are the ones that actually change the why, and not just deal with the what.
That's correct. Yeah. And in regards to your personal journey with cancer, how did you come about these ways of working with people through your own journey as well? Did you find that your own health and your own journey with cancer, you had to go to these places? You have to reach in deep.
Got a rocket ship to it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but no, fortunately, actually, it is. If I look back on my journey with cancer, it's been one of the best things that ever happened to me in a really weird way. Because without it, I wouldn't have changed. I wouldn't have learned these really powerful lessons and be doing what I do and having the conversations that I have. So I have that diagnosis to thank for that. So in a weird way, it's a blessing in disguise. Hard work.
Yeah.
So I got diagnosed in 2013, and it was testicular cancer, and then I had a metastasis, so it went up into the body, the cancer. And so when I was at my worst, I had a 9 centimetre by 8 centimetre by 3 centimetre tumour, which is a big tumour in the guts. I had 2 tumours in my chest, 2 under my collarbone, 1 on my neck and 1 on my lung when I was at my worst. And I had 2 relapses. It took me 2 years to get fully well, and it came back twice. And I was doing lots of stuff. I'm going to talk about this at the presentation, but we'll cover it now for sure. And I was doing lots of stuff that was really, really good. The right diet, the right chemotherapy for this sort of cancer, highly treatable, all the good stuff, and it wasn't working. It kept coming back.
Wow.
After 6 months, it came back. And then after 3 months, it came back. And the problem with cancer, each time it comes back, it gets more and more aggressive and more treatment resistant. And it doesn't matter if it's natural stuff or chemotherapy, it doesn't respond to treatment, so it becomes really stubborn. Lessons it wants to teach you. It's just like, I'm going to get you, sort of thing. And it's what it felt like. And I was just like, what am I missing here? And it became obvious that it wasn't necessarily what I was doing that was the issue. Because it was right on paper, theoretically, scientifically, it was right. It was the way that I was doing it. I was
Interesting.
doing it within an environment that was non-conducive to getting the result. So it was a very stressed out, chaotic life that I was in. So I had a large health centre. I had 15 practitioners working in the health centre, yoga hall, a cafe, a shop. I had many hats that I'd be wearing. I'd be scrubbing toilets one minute, and then I'd be mowing lawns next, and I'd be marketing the next, and consulting with people, and feeling completely unfulfilled. Doing it all, feeling like that jack of all trade, master of none, doing everything half-assed or half-baked.
Yes.
And not feeling like I was giving up my all, and very unfulfilled with that, and it was creating stress within my relationship and finances and all sorts of. So it was very chaotic. So I was trying to get the result in an environment that was just like, my environment was the problem. It wasn't what I was doing, so I had to change the environment. So this took me on a journey to change the why, not the what. Because I was doing everything for the why and it wasn't working, so I was like, I need to look at the why.
Yes.
So it was about looking at that and my relationship to it, and where I could make changes, making big changes, downsizing the home, selling the business, doing things smarter, not harder, and then doing the what. The what worked, funnily enough. And so it took me a while, of decreasing the stress. So stress played a major role in me getting on well. And the right combination of treatments was what got me well, and I'm well now. So it took a while, and there were some really big knocks at the door, and a couple of times that it came back to the door and kept knocking, and then pounding on the door until I figured this stuff out. We are creatures of habit, and we get it. Sometimes addicted to our lifestyles, whether they're healthy or unhealthy, and I've found just with health is the changes that we make in our life which bring health. It's not necessarily the supplements and things like that. These are good allies to get us well, whether it be essential oils or herbs or nutrition or chemotherapies or medicines. They're all powerful allies, but it's the context that we use them in which is what creates the power within them, and this is what changes. Diet and lifestyle change, and mainly lifestyle, the way that we do things is what's really important.
I totally agree. It's that that sometimes we can have this toxic environment, and we're not really making the connection between then the toxicity that might be occurring within our own cells. Now our cells are who we are, so if we are embedded or we are deliberately, re-engaging with these toxic environments, we have to then understand also that we are not immune to that, because that is who we are. And then the cells respond, and they have their own way of talking.
Science knows this. Science studies this. It's called the science of epigenetics. It's the study of our environment. We use the word our environment, which is what we eat, what we breathe, what we stick on our skin, the thoughts we think, the people we associate with, the jobs we do, everything. It's epigenetics. And that's what tells our cells what to do. So it's not necessarily the flesh suit that's the problem. It's what's telling the flesh suit what to do, which is our life. I call it the chemistry of our life. So this is what I help people with. It's just like, what's your chemistry of life doing for you? Maybe we need to change your chemistry of life. People don't like that usually.
We're not accustomed to that. It's a conversation that I think we all want to have, and yet at the same time we probably don't even know the leading questions on how to ask that.
And we want the magic pill. That takes it away.
We love the pill, don't we?
So the magic pill, in my experience, is how we create that total approach to our wellness, which includes our beautiful essential oils, our herbs, our vitamins, our diet, our stress management, and everything else. That's the cure, that's the pill. It's unfortunately not conveniently packaged in a nice little bottle you can buy from a shop.
That's right, and just take 3 times a day and we're done.
That'd be nice, but I don't think that's what life's about. So this is what I had to do. And it took a while to do that, and that's not something you can just change overnight. And sometimes you can't change your circumstances, but what you can do is change your relationship to your circumstances. So I got into meditation, and through meditation, mindfulness, which is what I'm going to be speaking about at the event. So for Sunday, this is how we can change our relationship to our lives, or to our event, to our job, that we can't just change our career like that, but we can change our relationship to it, which can be really, really important, because it can take that stress out of, or whatever it is, unfulfillment out of it, if we can change that relationship to it. So,
and it's that view, isn't it? It's that perception. And when we see it out here, and sometimes you're quite right, we don't know what to do with all of what we have sometimes created, but unconsciously, and there it is consciously staring back at us. This is our family, this is our life, this is our finances, and these are and we can't just drop the whole bundle. No. So what we do, it actually does. It's that life event. We actually have to get to that fulcrum, that crux point where we have to, and usually the body is that messenger. because we obey that, don't we? Especially cancer, we have to obey
it's how our
that.
body talks to us through signs and
Right.
symptoms, whether it's that cold sore, those chronic colds and flus, the autoimmune condition or a lump or a bump growing on you. Yeah, that's your body feedback going, hey, pay
Hello.
attention, I need some
Yes.
change. Yeah, what you're doing is okay, but it's unfortunately not conducive to what we want. We'd like you to come back into balance, make the change, please. And we resist that at our own detriment, unfortunately. And so if we understand the language of the body through signs and symptoms rather than the magic pill mentality, which is just silence the messenger, we actually go, okay, what are you asking for, and make the changes. We bring our bodies, our lives back in balance, and we can be healthy and well. So it takes a while for some people to do. It took me a while, but you get there. And I think you don't ever just get to that perfect place, and then life throws you that next curveball and you're out again. So it's how do you react and respond when life throws those curveballs, and how do you bring yourself back in effectively, having the tools to be able to do that, the right resources, the right diet, lifestyle, maybe meditation for stress, maybe essential oils to help with emotional state and to facilitate everything happening. I think that's the key.
It is the key.
Yeah.
And with your meditation, which you'll be doing on the Super Sunday as well, so we'll be hearing it. We'll be speaking. So you'll be speaking and then doing the meditation. And tell us a little bit about how you found meditation worked for you.
Yeah.
How does it allow us to create that space within us to recognise?
Yeah. So it's very much what I was sort of talking about before, is that I had to change my relationship to certain things because I couldn't change just straight away. Selling a business doesn't just happen overnight.
That's right.
A diagnosis just doesn't disappear overnight, things like that. So you have to change your relationship to it. Perceptions, it's all linked in. So meditation was a really powerful key to go within, rather than looking for the answers outside. You go inside, and that's generally where they are. And you get to spend time with yourself and contemplate this stuff. It changes your perception of what's going on. So it was a really crucial tool to deal with the stress of the cancer journey, which is quite stressful, and the anxiety that cancer patients get. They get what's called canxiety, cancer anxiety, around every appointment, every blood test. What's it going to say? Every lump or bump that you feel, oh, is that the cancer? Is it back? Has it spread? You get scanxiety as well, which is every scan that you have, what's it going to say? Am I getting better? Am I getting worse? So there's a lot of stress and anxiety on it, and it was important for me to manage that, because I could appreciate that stress played a massive role in me getting unwell, and if I wanted to get well, I needed to deal with the stress.
You need to shift that, yes.
Yeah, it's probably highly relevant. So meditation was my key tool for that, mindfulness, which is sort of a byproduct of regular meditation. So it's been a powerful tool for me, and so much so that I see it, and when I'm treating my patients, I'm getting people come in and talk to me about their health issues, whether it be autoimmune, chronic stuff, or cancer, which I treat a lot of, and it's the same old stories, day in, day out, all different flavours and different biographies, but it's a lot of stress, it's a lot of too much going on, and people need to be able to, self-included, to be able to deal with that. So I needed to be able to teach my clients that. So I got affiliated with or associated with the Gawler Foundation over East, which is Ian Gawler's not-for-profit cancer foundation. Beautiful outfit out there that help a lot of people and do a lot of stuff in the cancer world. And so I teach their meditation, and I run workshops and courses for people, and I can do one-on-one teaching as well. But so I needed this tool to be able to help other people. I needed to help myself first, but then I could see as I got back into work, that's such a crucial life skill that people don't have the ability to manage stress, which is, in my opinion, the key player for human health, and more important than what you feed yourself, your diet. Your body can do relatively well with a pretty average diet. You give it chronic persistent stress, and it's not going to do well at all.
That's
so
right.
it's a big player that doesn't get the airplay it deserves. It's not taken as seriously as what it needs to be. I think there's reasons for that. It's non-tangible. You can't measure stress overly well. You can't see it. It's not like a rash or a lump or a bump.
That's right.
It's subjective. What stresses me doesn't stress you.
Correct.
So it just doesn't get that airplay or that that attention, and it needs to. So this is why I'm really passionate about teaching it, is to show people that how it works, how it influences your health and your body, and that you have a really awesome medicine for this.
Yes.
It's called meditation
and
mindfulness, and you can give yourself a daily dose. I call it meditation medication. You drip feed yourself if you have to. Some days you feel like you need to hook up an IV and drip feed yourself all day long. We go through these periods, and that's where it's a life skill that should be there. So I teach that. That's why I'll be talking about it on the day, and if people want to learn more, they can come to the stall and have a chat to me.
And you'll have some dates for us on your workshops that are coming up?
Yeah, I generally run it every month, the workshop. The workshop is a 6-hour workshop. It's usually the best place to dip your toe in and learn about the science behind meditation, mindfulness, and then many techniques on how to embrace this into your daily life. So lots of information.
It's going to be great.
So that's how it sort of came into my life and why I'm really passionate about it, why I teach it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Ed. This has been such an eye-opening conversation with you. It's been fantastic to meet you.
It's been great to do this.
And look, I think on the 24th we're going to hear this a little bit more, and then we get to experience the meditation as well, which I'm really looking forward to. What a fabulous addition you are to our speaker lineup.
Thanks for having me.
It's our pleasure.
I look forward to it.
It's going to be great. Thanks, guys. We'll pop the link at the in the